Welcome to Permission to Thrive. I'm your host, Suzi Lula. As a spiritual therapist for over 20 years, I have the honor and privilege of ushering women and mothers just like you on a journey from simply surviving to powerfully thriving. I also have the honor of raising our son, Will, who is now a young adult, with my longtime partner, Jamie. So I'm right there on the journey with you. Consider this your personal sanctuary, your space to meet your heart, embrace your messy, and come home to your most authentic, extraordinary self. My hope is that you leave resourced and inspired because you are here to shine. Welcome to Permission to Thrive. Hi, everyone. So in this solo episode, I talk about your authenticity, your emotional life, and how a healthy relationship with both of them is going to be your portal and your bridge to living your most thriving, your most blossoming, your most expansive and abundant life. I help you get connected and reconnected to your most authentic self, to the gifts that are within you right now that are seeking to be more fully self-expressed in your life. I help you get connected to your authentic joy and your authentic expansion and abundance and prosperity and creativity. And so in this episode, I assist you to see the ways that you are misidentifying yourself, as you are seeing yourself as either broken or damaged, not enough, and how these misidentifications are keeping you stuck, and how re-identifying yourself will put you back in the flow of abundance and thriving in your life. One of the things that I do before every session, before different conversations, certainly in every class that I teach, is I do a short centering. So before we jump into this episode, I would invite you, if it feels right to you, I'm going to take you through a short centering, and this will be indicative of the centerings that I do and the way that you can bring centering and intention setting into your life. So if it feels right to you and you're not driving, just gently close your eyes. If you're driving or walking, just keep your eyes open. You might want to place your hand on your heart. And just as a way of centering, we are going to call ourselves into our heart right now. We're going to let go of anything that's come before this moment, anything that has come before and anything that might come after. And just for these next few minutes, we're going to rest in our heart, remind ourselves there's nothing more important that we need to do than to receive this information, than to immerse ourselves in this energy that will reconnect you with your most authentic self, with your highest self, your most abundant self, your most joyful self, that this is a safe space and a safe time for you to explore and let go of anything that no longer serves you, so that you leave this time so connected, so reconnected, so inspired, and so on fire with your most authentic, expanded, joyful, and abundant self. And so I'm grateful even before we begin. So that was an example of a short centering. And now that you are centered, enjoy the episode. Relax, sit back, and enjoy. Hi, everyone. I wanted to offer an episode on emotions, authenticity, and what emotions and authenticity have to do with living a thriving life. So for any of you who are just getting to know me, and if you're watching on YouTube, I often use this visual of a beautiful golden cord. And if you're just listening, imagine that when each of us and when you were born a blank canvas. You were born open, innocent, joyful, available. You were connected, and still are, to a beautiful golden white cord of consciousness. You are a beautiful golden white cord of consciousness. You are connected to a beautiful flow of energy that internally connects you and externally connects you to so much good, so much abundance, so much joy, infinite possibilities, infinite potentiality, a loving presence that you can't even imagine. This golden white cord of consciousness is who you are, what you are. And when we're each born, because we're born as this undefended, unprotected, open, available, receptive being, we are each and all connected to our most authentic nature at that time. When you think of any infant, if any of you have been around a newborn, a 6-month-old, a year-old child, those children, and you once were this child, is so still connected to this light, to this exuberance, to this joy. It's unfiltered. It's undefended. You think of an infant, you think of a young 1-2-year-old. They are just in their joy, in their glory. They don't hold back because they haven't been taught to hold back. They are fully expressing their joy and their light out of the box. They dance, they smile, they sing, and they fully express their tantrums, their feelings, their emotions. You're never unsure of what an infant is feeling. You know, they're calm, they're peaceful, they're enchanted with the light, or they're not happy and they let you know it. Because they are so connected to our authentic nature. So as we're moving through this episode, I want you to just right now, as I'm speaking, I want you to be willing to connect or to know that you were once this exuberant, out of the box, shiny, connected to your authentic self being. And when you were feeling lots of big feelings, you let those out until you were trained not to. And when you were feeling light and joyful and airy, you let that out until you were trained not to. So as you're listening, you're beginning to remember, oh, there is an authentic being in me. And I use this analogy of this beautiful golden white light because that is who you are. You are in a flow when you're born. You are unencumbered. And then what happens? We are taught, we hear messages, we go through experiences. So begin to think of your own family of origin. Begin to think of your own culture. You went through experiences in your family of origin and you took on messages. You were sent messages. Oh, maybe you're not all that. Maybe you're not as creative as you thought you were. Maybe you're not as abundant as you thought you were. Maybe you're not as prosperous as you thought you were. Maybe you're not as smart, as intelligent, as joyful, as lighthearted as you thought you were. I call these knots in consciousness. So if you happen to be watching YouTube, I have this golden cord and I'm just tying a knot. If you're simply listening, imagine a knot in a necklace, on a chain of a necklace. Imagine this beautiful necklace, and then it gets a knot in the necklace. The necklace is still your authentic energy. This cord is still your authentic energy, but when it has a knot in it, it's just harder for the energy to flow. So if you think of a knot in a necklace, it's still the most beautiful golden white loving energy, but that knot then makes it more challenging for you to feel like you're in the flow. And what happens is then we start to focus on the knot. We start to focus on the part of us that feels uncomfortable, that had uncomfortable experiences, traumatic experiences. And we start looking at the knot rather than the rest of the necklace. And we start focusing on that knot. And then we begin to think that we are the knot. So begin to think of your own family of origin, your own cultural upbringing. I was raised in some dysfunction, as maybe some of you can relate. And in the midst of that dysfunction, I heard messages of lack. I heard messages that said to me, oh, maybe I'm not as abundant as I thought I was. Oh, I see. And so I begin then to think that not only are we lacking, but I begin to think that I am lacking. I begin to think that who I am, is not enough. Something's wrong with me. Something's missing from me. Something's lacking inside of me. Something's broken inside of me in some way, shape, or form. Something's wrong with who I am. So as I'm sharing this, can any of you relate? I want you relating to your own family of origin, your own cultural upbringing. Did you receive messages that in some way, shape, or form, who you are authentically was not okay? Did you receive messages that maybe you are not enough? Maybe you felt that you weren't smart enough. You weren't as intelligent as someone else. Maybe you were sent messages that you were different in your family, and being different meant you weren't as accepted, and feeling not accepted made you believe that you didn't belong. And if you felt like you didn't belong, you would then feel like, if only I was XYZ, then I'd be okay. If only I got that one more degree, that one more achievement, then I'd be okay. If only I did that one more thing, if only I made more money, if only this happened, then I would receive that approval that I really wanted from my mother, or I really wanted from my father, or I was really looking for from culture, from an aunt, from a grandmother, from a stepfather, a stepbrother, from a sibling. If only I was more of XYZ, if only I was less XYZ, then I would be okay. If you received any of these messages, you will begin to see that you made up inaccurate meanings from the experiences that happened in your life. And if you, even as an adult right now, are thinking, I'm weak, I'm not resilient, I'm not enough, so I need to overachieve. I'm not enough, so I need to be overly responsible. I need to overcompensate. I think that I'm too much, so I have to overcompensate and keep myself quiet and polite and in a box. I think I'm too much, so I have to be that nice girl, that accepted girl, so that I will belong, so that I will receive acceptance and approval. Maybe I think I'm too shy, I'm too introverted, I'm too sensitive. I just spoke about your sensitivity is your superpower. If you missed that episode, please go back. It's my last solo episode, and it really has a lot to do with authenticity. So what I want you to hear is that most often we place meanings on ourselves that are inaccurate. So you've been walking through your life misidentifying yourself. You think you are lacking. You think that you are not enough, and you are identifying yourself as not enough. And therefore, that misidentification is having you manifest and live out your life from a place of lack, of not enoughness. When you think about your authentic nature, underneath the conditioning that you got, underneath the family messages that you picked up, underneath the way that you are right now misidentifying yourself in your life, right underneath that is still your authentic being. So if you're watching on YouTube, or if you want to go back and imagine that beautiful necklace that has a knot on it, that beautiful golden white cord. And sometimes what there is what I call a knot upon a knot upon a knot upon a knot. So you may have gone through different experiences in your life, and you have not had the opportunity to process those experiences accurately. And so you are left with knots. The knots in consciousness are these unmet, unfulfilled needs. And you're left with these knots in consciousness. You're left with this beautiful chain that has 4, 5, 6 knots in it. But what I want you to hear is that even if you have 6 knots, 3 knots, 2 knots, 1 knot, underneath each one of those knots is your authenticity. Your authenticity has not gone anywhere. It's simply covered up by the meanings that you have put on yourself, the ways that you are misidentifying yourself. So call to mind right now ways that you might be misidentifying yourself. For many, many years in my life, I went through misidentifying myself, thinking that I wasn't enough. And so I would play that out in different ways. I would think that I wasn't enough as a mom. And if I made a mistake, or if Will made a mistake, because I saw him as an extension of me, it would trigger this part of me that felt like I wasn't a good enough mom. If I made a mistake, if he made a mistake, a so-called mistake, I would see that, and it would trigger the ways that I was misidentifying myself. In other ways, if, I would look at my career success, or the ways that I would perceive or judge my lack of career success, and I would then say, you see, I'm not enough. When really it was the fact that I was holding I'm not enough as a misidentification of myself, and then I was creating that. I could look at my body and think, oh, my body looks like XYZ, I must not be enough. Another way to say it is, I'm misidentifying myself as not enough, and therefore I'm seeing the things and perceiving the things around me that are not enough. If you are holding yourself and identifying yourself as not enough, then you are going to see through that filter that your child is not enough, that your bank account is not enough, that your house doesn't have enough square footage, that you're in the wrong zip code, that you need to be married if you're single, that you need to be single if you're married, that you wish you had a different partner, that you wish you had a different child. If only your child would show up in this way, then you would feel enough. If only your bank account would show this, then you would feel enough. If only your partner was attracted to you, then you would feel enough. We are trained to look to the external world to try to get that feeling of feeling enough. But underneath that feeling of feeling not enough is an authentic part of you that knows that actually you are enough. You always have been enough. You always will be enough. There is nothing in this world. There's no achievement. There's no behavior from your child. There's no bank account number that is going to have you feel more enough than you are authentically. How do we know this? Because again, go back. Think of yourself as an infant. Think of any infant. An infant is so content. An infant is so comfortable lying on a bed, naked, looking out of a window at the light. They need nothing from the outside to make them feel a sense of worth. They feel a sense of worth because they're lying on that bed. They haven't been conditioned yet. So I want you to understand that underneath any knots in consciousness, any ways that you are looking at yourself and perceiving yourself as not belonging, as having something wrong with you, as being broken, as being damaged, as needing something, needing sugar, needing a glass of wine, needing to shop, needing a new pair of shoes, needing your child to behave in a certain way. Those are knots in consciousness. And I want you to know a takeaway that I want you to leave with here today is the willingness to say, underneath that, there is a place inside of you that is so content, that knows that your authentic self is more than enough. Your authentic self is wholeness. Your authentic self is divine. Your authentic self is at peace. Your authentic self feels calm right now. There is an authentic self in you that is connected to a flow. And that life flow, that is the flow of life, and that flow of life connects you to your abundance. That authentic flow connects you and reminds you, you are here for a reason. So I want you to begin to be willing to connect with a place inside of you that has come onto this earth with certain gifts, with certain uniquenesses. There is a place inside of you that has come onto earth with certain gifts and certain uniquenesses. There is a way that you are unique, just like if 3 different people sing the same song, it will sound different according to each one of those individuals. If 3 of us recite a poem, it will sound different to each one of us because we bring our own uniqueness to that song, to that poem. So begin to be willing to become aware. How are you unique? There is something about you that is unique. There is something about your energy, the way that you communicate, the way that you are articulate. There is something about the beauty that you bring. There is a light within you. There are things that you are here to bring and to share and contribute in only the way that you can do it. So before you leave today, be willing to begin to connect with what is it that makes you unique. You know, all of the experiences that I went through that were dark and seemingly hurtful to me, and the challenges that I've gone through, underneath all of the chaos and dysfunction that was going on in my family of origin, I was an authentically sensitive being. I was sensitive. I was always looking for the light in my seemingly very dark family. I was always looking for the light. I was always looking for just a little flicker of light in the midst of darkness. I was always a really good listener. I was always a really good friend. I was always very loyal. I was always very interested in wisdom and wisdom teachings and wisdom teachers. I was always really interested in personal growth and expansion and meditation and that growing cutting edge of the human potential. It was always there, even in the midst of and even underneath all of the family of origin dysfunction that I moved through. And I bring this up to say that whatever it is that you moved through, I needed to move through it in that way. I needed to be born into and grow through a dysfunctional family because it provided me with all of the opportunities to now, as an adult, use all of my authentic qualities in the work that I do. All of that time looking for the light, writing in my journal, all my angst when I was 16, all of those journal entries, searching for what in the world self-love would feel like, what in the world self-love could look like in the midst of this dysfunction. All of that, I use every bit of that every day of my life in what I do right now. So whatever it is that you moved through in your culture, in your family of origin, right there in the midst are all of the unique qualities that make you you, made you you, and are still here to contribute to you living a very flourishing, fulfilled, thriving life. Is that clear? There was a seeker in me since I can remember. There was a seeker in me throughout all of the dysfunction I moved through. So, what I'm offering now to you is I want you to begin to look for, be on a search for what were the authentic qualities that were always present in you throughout whatever experiences, situations you lived through. Your authentic being, your authentic nature was right there, is right there, might be buried, might be submerged because you were trying to protect that part of you. But the sensitivity that I was, the wisdom seeker that I was, might have been a little submerged, but I need look only back to my journals to see, oh my gosh, I was on such a search. That's what I was talking to my girlfriends about at the time. That was always what was so important to me. And now I've created an entire life around it. You see, whatever you were going through, there was an authentic being in you that was there and is there right now. And so during this time that you're listening, I want you to begin to ask yourself, what is your authentic self seeking to tell you? How is your authentic self seeking to be more prominent in your life right now? How was your authentic self always there when you were 3, when you were 6, when you were 8, when you were 12, when you were 18, 21? There is an authentic being in you that was always present and is present right now. And you want to be asking that authentic part of you, how are you wanting to be more fully self-expressed in your life right now? There is a place inside of you that wants to be shiny. There is a sparkly, radiant, vital, luminous, joyful, expansive space inside of you that wants to be let out. How are you keeping your authentic self in a prison cell on the back burner? There's an authentic part of you that really wants to be let out. There is an authentic part of you that really wants to be set free. Who will you be when you allow your authentic self to be set free? It will bump up against the places inside that have been taught, don't be too much, don't be too shiny, stay in a box. Oh, you're too much. Oh, you're too sensitive. Who do you think you are? And you want to give that authentic place inside of you permission. That's why I call this podcast Permission to Thrive. You want to be your own permission giver. You want to give the authentic place inside of you permission to shine today. There is a place inside of you that wants to dance, that wants to sing, that wants to sing at the top of your lungs. And we are taught in this culture, well, you have to work hard. You have to do the responsible thing, do the thing that's in front of you. But what I want you to know is that the authentic part of you that wants to sing, that wants to dance, that wants to shine, that wants to redo a piece of furniture, that wants to go outside and look for 4-leaf clovers, the part of you that wants to go take a walk around your block or take a walk in nature. There's a part of you, someone out there that wants to pick up a paintbrush and just paint for the heck of it without needing it to produce anything. There's a part of someone out there that wants to just go exercise so your body feels better. There's someone out there that just needs permission to go take a nap today for 20 minutes, that needs to rest, that needs to be restored. There's another part of someone out there that needs to go be inspired and and go take that next action step. There's somebody out there that needs to just go give themselves permission to go to the beach or go to a movie or relax. Each one of us needs something different at different times, but when we are true to the authentic calling of our heart, it allows the sunshine of your heart to shine more brightly. And then it allows you to bring that sunshine back into whatever tasks you need to be doing. Perhaps giving yourself permission to go to a movie, to go walk in nature, to read something inspiring, to listen to a piece of music, to just see the part of you that you've been keeping in a prison cell, to give that part of you permission to be set free. Then when you go to do your taxes, or then when you go to make your dinner, or then when you go to put your child to sleep tonight, or then when you go to ask your boss for a promotion, you will come with the fullness, with the richness, with the connection to your abundance and prosperity, your light. You are light, and you are here to bring that light everywhere that you go. Even if you are moving through a particularly dark chapter of your life, perhaps someone in your family is going through something that's challenging. Perhaps you're having a challenge with one of your children or one of your parents, or one of your parents is going through a health challenge, or you are going through a health challenge. You are light, and you are here to be the bringer of the light and to shine your light so brightly that you are in such an expanded state of consciousness that you bring that light to your own internal darkness, that you are so bright, that you are so connected with yourself as an infinite light-filled presence, that you are able to be the bringer of your own light to your inner spaces of dark and to your outer spaces of dark. If any of you are going through a health challenge or a financial challenge or a challenge with one of your children, or with a friend, or with a coworker, with your own, maybe you're grappling and searching for your next step in your career, whatever it is that you may be going through, first of all, we hold it so lightly and with such compassion. And when you bring your authentic self, and when you give yourself permission to connect with this light that is infinite within you, then you are connected to an infinite presence of light, and you can be the bringer of your own light to your own internal darkness. You can be the bringer of the light to your own external darkness. And then you are the light, and you are the bringer of the light. And that places you in the flow. It places you in the flow of abundance and infinite opportunities and infinite possibilities. And it allows you to see a possibility in front of you that 5 minutes ago you did not see. If you are going through a challenge, but you are identifying yourself as that childhood meaning that you placed on it. Oh, something's wrong with me. Oh, I always am a screw up. Oh, I am a mistake. Then you are going to see very limited opportunities and possibilities around you. But if you re-identify yourself, and you identify yourself as the sunshine of your own life, of the light of your own light, and you allow your own light to shine, you will then shine the light on possibilities that have always been there, but you just were not seeing them. When I was young and I was identifying myself as not enough, something wrong with me, too sensitive, too much time being a seeker, I was missing the opportunities around me. I was missing the possibilities around me. I thought I needed to fix something, and then I would find my calling, and then I would find my purpose. Whereas if I was interested in identifying myself as the light that I was and am, then that light would have been able to see, oh, I see all of these gifts. I'm right in the midst of my purpose. That's what a therapist does. That's what a coach is interested in. A coach is a seeker. A coach is a seeker in their own right, the best of coaches anyway. We're seekers in our own right, and therefore we can so identify with another individual who is seeking to make sense of the meanings in their life. So there is something within you right now that is seeking to be more expressed. And when you give that authentic place within you more space in your life to be fully expressed, you will then be the bringer of that into your relationship with your son or your daughter, your relationship with your mother-in-law or a sibling, your relationship with your finance or your body, your relationship with your bank account or your achievements or your career. You want to touch the authentic places inside of you. You want to give them permission to be freely expressed, and then you want to bring them into your outer life. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. Before we move on, I want you to take one deep breath in. I want you to give yourself the space as you are exhaling to let all of your authentic gifts bubble up to the surface of your awareness. What makes you uniquely you? What is your authentic self saying to you? How is your authentic self seeking to be more expressed in your life today? And who are you when you connect and let that authenticity free? Give yourself permission to shine your light today. Give yourself permission to shine your light this week, and give yourself permission to bring your light into all of your outer relationships today, this week, until we come back again. So thank you, everyone. I so appreciate your time, your investment, your comments. They mean the world to me. And if there is something that you are taking away today, I would so appreciate if you would subscribe so that you are always alerted to new episodes, that you might consider passing on this episode. And mostly, if you would go write a 5-star review. You have no idea how much taking the time to write that review will help the algorithms to have other people out there get more connected with the permission to thrive in their life. If you write that one review and then it helps one person thrive in their life, you have paid this forward. So much love, everyone. Give yourself permission to thrive this week, and I will see you again. Thank you so much for listening. If there was something in this conversation that spoke to you, we'd so appreciate it if you would take the time to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share this episode with women and mothers you know, because you are here to thrive. See you next time.